Andrew Tate is a ubiquitous online social media presence. He is a former kickboxer who became rich selling courses and being an online social media personality. And he's also something of an icon in the manosphere subculture, which is a network of websites and blogs and forums online of men who express misogynistic attitudes and also contempt for quote unquote beta males. Um, Andrew Tate and his critics also exemplify something of the toxicity of social media culture more generally. And in this short video, I want to look at three different types of responses to Andrew Tate, from the the lowest level of critical response to him to the what I think is the most effective or profound critical response to him. So let's take a look first at the bottom level or bottom tier of critical response to Andrew Tate. Okay, so the bottom tier response to Andrew Tate is simply to respond in kind to him with equivalent insults. And because Andrew Tate himself really focuses on the physical appearance of others, the critics respond by critiquing his physical appearance. In particular, one example here is to criticize his male pattern baldness by invoking a meme. And the meme is a lollipop dropped on the carpet and then picked up, and comparing his head and the experience or the appearance of his hair growing out to that unfortunate lollipop. It's an effective baseline critical response to Andrew Tate. The next level up we're going to look at is one that criticizes not just his physical appearance, goes the next level to criticize his whole conception of masculinity as overcompensating for inadequacy um, and weakness. So the idea being, in fact, Andrew Tate is a himself a beta male, you could say, rather than the alpha male he presents himself as being. And here, this brings us to what is arguably the most successful clapback to Andrew Tate ever. It comes from Greta Thunberg. So, back in 2022, Andrew Tate posted a tweet of himself with one of his cars, a Bugatti, and he was trolling Greta by saying, listing off all of his cars and talking about all the carbon emissions they have and boasting about that and saying he could tell her more about the carbon emissions of his cars, mocking her concern for climate change and the reducing of carbon footprints. Greta responded by saying, yes, please do enlighten me. Email me at smalldickenergy@getalife.com, which yielded 3.4 million likes and 593,000 retweets. I would say that's a very successful tweet. And again, arguably in terms of impact, the most successful response to Andrew Tate ever. And so what Thunberg here is doing is she's not simply criticizing his physical appearance. She's criticizing the core of who he is, in the sense by saying, you actually are yourself small and inadequate. And the reference here to a small penis being a metaphor for inadequacy of masculinity and male presentation. Now we come to what I think is the most successful, in my view, not in terms of social media impact necessarily, but the most successful response to Tate, because it doesn't come as an insult. It comes rather with a contrary, ennobling vision that is set alongside Tate's crass, dark vision of the world, and giving, in contrast, an ennobling vision of the world. And this response also came in 2022. So it begins. Andrew Tate tweets on Christmas Day, 2022, an insult. He says, just to all those beta males out there, you are poor, you are unimportant, men do not fear you, your woman disagrees with you, your lives are shit. If I was forced to endure a year of your life, it would be the worst level of depression imaginable. This captures the worldview of Andrew Tate in a tweet. Contempt for what he conveys as weakness, contempt for beta males, contempt for women, a narcissist, and an insecure narcissist at that. So, how do you respond? What is the most powerful response to this worldview presented by Andrew Tate in this tweet. It comes from a fellow named Anthony. This is how he responds. He says, I am poor, but I work with special needs students who love me and live a fulfilling life. I don't need anyone to fear me. I am content being appreciated. I'm spending Christmas with the woman I love and our three gorgeous daughters. We don't agree on everything, and that's okay. You see, Anthony does not insult Andrew Tate at all. He doesn't go tit for tat. He doesn't say, you've criticized my masculinity, so I'm going to criticize yours, or you've criticized my perceived weakness, so I'll criticize your baldness. What he does is he says, this is what a noble life looks like. And I'm going to present my noble conception of manhood, more generally of humanity, laid alongside yours, and allow people just to take in the difference and see which kind of life do they want to live? Do they want to live a dark, angry, bitter life of the so-called alpha male online? Or do they want to live an ennobling life with people that you love and who love you, and treating weakness as strength and recognizing it as strength? And this is, for my mind, the most profound and effective top-tier response to Andrew Tate. Lastly, this is not really about Andrew Tate. This is, again, about the fact that he represents the bitterness and anger and toxicity of social media. And so many of these other responses to him in kind, they capture overall in capsule summary the toxicity of social media more generally. And what Anthony offers is a way to break out of this endless cycle of hatred, contempt, and toxicity by offering to others an ennobling vision. I'm not going to say I'm very successful at this myself, but I like to look to this tweet of Anthony both for inspiration and for a reminder of how each one of us can begin to break out of these endless cycles of anger, contempt, and hostility by responding to the kind of hatred and contempt and hostility of people like Andrew Tate with an ennobling vision of a better life and a kinder and gentler world.